What's going on, everybody? It's that time again. It's the Sooners Illustrated podcast, episode 59 on this Thursday, February 15th, 2024. Josh Callaway, Collin Kennedy with you on a Thursday, send you on your way into your February weekend. Don't have a ton going on. We got a couple of recruiting things we want to get into. Big basketball game the other night that did not go well for Porter Moser's squad. We'll talk about that a little bit as well. Look ahead to this weekend, Kansas coming to the LNC. So we got a few things we want to hit on before we send you on your way to the weekend. But Collin, did you see the biggest news of the day? EA Sports College Football dropped a teaser. The college football video games, but I didn't get to even watch it yet. I dropped it right as we sat down to start recording. But that's the biggest news of the day. That has rocked my world. Apparently, they're going to have more details in May, and the game is expected to be released this summer. So I got to take like a week off or something, I guess. I don't know. I might not be able to do the pod for a couple of episodes while I'm playing the game.
I believe it when I see it when it comes to that game.
I know.
Like, is it actually even going to drop? Because at this point, what was it? They lied about even just making a commercial a couple weeks ago.
The rumor was that during the Natty, there was going to be a commercial or some details, and then just nothing happened. Yeah, keep in mind we've already been delayed a year because it was supposed to come out last summer and then got bumped back. So yeah, I'm with you. It's kind of like a
I'm holding the video game never drops ticket at this point. Now it may be a plus odds, I may be facing plus money, but if it cashes and I think there's a chance, I'll be a very rich man.
I've been right there, and then today has got me in the Michael Scott I'm ready to be hurt again territory. Like that's kind of I'm believing again, and it's scary. So look forward to that. What OU players will fans want to play with first? You got to get all the guys we missed need to be in the game. I need to go be able to have a chance to run around with Kyler Murray. We never got that opportunity, so we need to backtrack and give me that chance. So hopefully the game does us some favors there. But yeah, that's the big news of the day in college football. There is, a few recruiting things we want to get into, like we said, just a couple, and then we'll do some hoops. Be a nice and quick little easy show. I'm actually heading down to Arlington later today to DFW, to Colin's neck of the woods. OU baseball season opener tomorrow at Globe Life Field there in Arlington. Very excited for that. It's tomorrow afternoon. So I'm going to be heading down there later. We kind of moved the show up, recording this pretty early in the morning relatively for us. We don't usually record this early. So quick and painless. We'll do a few things here, and then we'll get on out. So, Collin, I think the major name on the recruiting side that most fans are excited about and are just curious about right now is probably Jonah Williams, who we talked about before. 4-star, right as a linebacker. OU wants him as a safety. We talked about that before as well. He's a really talented kid. He's got lots of offers. Just an update from you. Obviously, we've seen some picks get put in. Our own Steve Wilfalm dropped a crystal ball in. Just give us a little update. I'm sure fans would like to know just anything that you're hearing on Jonah and maybe even a timeline. It sounds like this might not be for a little while, but just, I guess, wrap it up for us a little bit on the Jonah Williams sweepstakes right now.
Yeah, our subscribers know exactly where my head has been at, to the point. And I encourage folks who want to learn more in-depth stuff on Jonah and other recruits to go subscribe right now. With kind of a generic statement for the public, there's very much a reason why I don't put picks in. There are several reasons why I don't put in a ton of picks. And the Jonah Williams situation is one of them. And for, again, a multitude of reasons, I've held back a pick that I probably could have made the moment he left campus in Norman, but I didn't. Why? All right. I tell fans this a lot, but me being in the world of recruiting for a long time now, one thing that I have learned that gets completely devalued or almost discarded, and is kind of a silly thing to not think about, is the counterpunch in college football recruiting.
Yeah.
Everyone just thinks a guy took a visit, it went really great, a pick went in, oh, he's committed. No, because there are about, let's say 40 other offers on Jonah Williams' offer sheet, and a good percentage of those guys, those coaching staffs are going to be trying to figure out a way to derail any momentum that Oklahoma had coming out of the weekend, and rightfully so. I mean, this is legitimately a 5-star safety hybrid linebacker who can play up to the line of scrimmage and all the way back to the deep safety. He's a freak. And when I went to see him in person, I was like, man, I don't remember the last time I saw a hybrid defender like this in my time in recruiting before. This is not someone you just let fade into the wind. And so I think in Jonah's situation, he talked with Brandon Huffman, our national recruiting editor, the other day. That story is up at Sooners Illustrated for our subscribers. But essentially, the next commitment announcement, if anything, it'll be a top 10 of sorts. He's going to want to narrow the list down, essentially narrow his focus before visits. And I still firmly believe that Jonah Williams won't be making a decision anytime soon, at least until after some official visits are taken. Especially in the era now where recruits have unlimited official visits, because that's just something the NCAA said can happen. This guy could legitimately take a 10 official visit slate if he wanted to. So I know fans always kind of like make fun of guys like me who write the top 10 stories, and that's justifiable. It's one of my least favorite things I ever have to do. But now it's kind of important because he could legitimately take 10 OVs if he wanted. Now, I'm not saying that he will. Right. What I am saying is that this is going to be a process that's going to be drawn out likely into the summer. I really wouldn't be surprised if it's later in the summer. And then that would be when I would expect Jonah Williams to make his decision. And there are some heavy hitters here. Again, the counterpunch concept. I told our subscribers immediately in one of these 6 note drops that I dropped immediately after that Junior Day weekend. I was like, look, the Jonah Williams visit couldn't have gone any better. But Oregon, Ohio State, Texas A&M, who knows, maybe an LSU.
Yeah.
They've all been on the radar for Jonah Williams. And here very soon, I think they're going to remind everybody why that is the case. Oklahoma has done a lot of work here. It's worked out well, but more work is likely in the future.
Yeah, so it sounds like, not to, I don't know throw a wet blanket on the hype train right now. Oklahoma's in a good shape, but give it a little time. I guess it's kind of the main sentiment I'm taking out of that. Wait till a little bit later in the summer. The visit went great. Oklahoma is in great shape here. Certainly a good chance that they can land this kid, but give it a little time. Give it a little time. I mentioned he's a 4-star. It's 5-star composite for people who are curious on that. Number 14 overall player, number 2 linebacker, and like we said, Oklahoma kind of has him in that safety mold. Probably a cheetah candidate, you would imagine. So big time player. Like Collin said, freak of nature, and we'll keep an eye on it. I'm sure he's going to be one we're going to talk about a lot in between now and whatever that commitment does come, presumably later in the summer. But as of now, Oklahoma's in good shape, and we'll continue to update you, everybody, as necessary. I guess is the best way to put that. So, going to be a fun one to keep an eye on, though, and what a player it would be if Oklahoma can bring him in. Elsewhere on the recruiting side of things, I think this is kind of that time of year. We're in the middle of February right now. Signing day just happened. We talked about that last week, obviously. So the 2024 class is in the books. We're on to 25 completely. Spring practices are about a month or so away from starting. What's just kind of the timeline right now for the recruiting side of things? What should fans turn their attention to right now? Where is your attention right now? Whether that's specific players that you think their timeline is coming up, or just, I don't know, in general. Well, what's kind of the next, month or beyond look like on the recruiting side of things right now for fans to kind of look forward to and get excited about?
Yeah, so there's actually going to be a lot of stuff that picks up specifically this weekend in the world of recruiting, and I'll definitely be a part of it. So again, if you're subscribed to Sooners Illustrated, expect some pretty fun content, because right now we're kind of in 7-on-7 season. These guys are taking a break from recruiting. They're out on the road. They're playing with their 7-on-7 teams.
Yeah.
Or, I think this is another very important thing to note, a lot of fans are asking why is right now a little bit of a slower period. Well, obviously it's the dead period, so literally it's supposed to be dead.
Yeah.
But in recruiting, again, these rankings and all these things that we compile has to do a lot with multi-sport backgrounds, and a lot of these guys are literally playing other sports right now. So they're not doing anything recruiting-wise because Maybe they're playing in a basketball game like a Lamont Rogers, or they're throwing shot put and discus like a Michael Fasusi, or they're running track and maybe they're part of the 4x1. I don't know. And so these guys focus right now, they're kind of on other things. But this weekend specifically, you've got a really big 7-on-7 tournament down here in the state of Texas in Houston. It's one of the bigger tournaments that teams from across the country participate in. So I'm expecting to hear a lot from folks that go down there about teams from California, Florida, and then, of course, here in the state of Texas. I will be actually heading to a different event, though. There are, again, some 7-on-7 tournaments in the state. But I'm hitting the road to Georgia. I will be driving to Atlanta with our good buddies Hudson Stanish and Jordan Scruggs, because this is also kind of the time frame where, like, the Under Armour camp circuit gets going. And so this weekend, the Atlanta, Georgia UA camp is taking place. And I think if you're an Oklahoma fan specifically, you're like, okay, why does that matter? Well, I don't know if you've noticed, but Emmett Jones, Jay Valai, and new defensive coordinator Zach Alley, they have started a Recruit Georgia movement at OU, literally.
Yeah.
And this weekend's event in Atlanta, when I head out there, like, there's a ton of OU offers already on the table. And then you get into the maybes for this list that I saw. Rumor has it there may or may not be a 5-star wide receiver at this event who visited Oklahoma. More on that later on the site for our subscribers. And then from there, it's like, okay, what happens next? Basically, folks, we're going to get through this dead period. Camps, 7-on-7 circuit, all that stuff's going to take place. Once things open back up and you kind of get into the evaluation period or what have you, then you might see some more stuff taking place as far as visits, travel, and things of that nature. And March specifically is going to be one that Oklahoma circles, because I believe right out of the dead period, OU is trying to host a number of sophomores, juniors, maybe even some freshmen on campus, and what's shaping up to be a really loaded visit weekend. And then you get into spring practices, and players can obviously visit you for spring practices and the game. And I've always said, like, in this time in recruiting where timelines are getting bumped up quicker and quicker, earlier and earlier, March is, to me, where you really see some announcements come through. Maybe some guys want to make a decision. They want to secure a spot. They want to go into summer without having to worry about that stuff.
Yeah.
I think, again, it's March and April where you probably start to get a sense of where you're really at with these guys, especially the 2025 cycle, which is now going to be the senior class. And because of all this, I think right out of this dead period that we're currently in, and a lot of guys getting to go through the camps and things of that nature, they'll turn their focus back to recruiting, and it could see some things accelerate, especially in the Sooners' favor as OU tries to capitalize on the March period quickly and pretty heavily.
So there you have it. So, yeah, 7-on-7 stuff is really starting to kick up. Like Collin says, we get out of some of those, and then, it'd be spring practice and spring game, which is always a big weekend for Oklahoma. Get lots of guys into town. That'll be here before you know it, too. That's coming up in just a little over 2 months from now. Like I said, spring practices are about a month from now as well. So we're getting close to things kind of kicking back up in a big way on both the current team and the recruiting side. It's just kind of the nature of the calendar, and this kind of post-signing day, February, is just kind of a little bit of a graveyard for football stuff. Just kind of the way it is on the calendar. But we still got some stuff for you, and we'll look forward to the calendar shifting to March and getting into the spring portion of the year as things get crazy. And then all of a sudden it's the summer, and we're doing the whole football season thing again before you know it. So look forward to that here before too long. So that's kind of, we have some things coming up, things to keep an eye on. Obviously the show's not, we'll have Collin still on the regular Thursday shows, and we'll continue to update as things come along as over the next few weeks. Like I said, spring.
I'll tell you this, man, again, like, I'm really excited for this weekend. Like, I think next week's show and then the content that's coming to Sooners Illustrated, I don't know what I'm in for when I get out to Georgia, but the timing of it worked out so well. And I think OU fans, some of our subscribers in like our VIP chat that we do every Wednesday, some of our subscribers always ask me, all right, what might be a new recruiting territory that pops up for Oklahoma? Georgia is it. Like, this staff has made it clear they want to recruit the state of Georgia. And as I drive, whatever it is, the 11, 12 hours out east.
I was going to ask, what kind of drive, how long of a drive are we looking at?
It's not going to be fun. It's not going to be like when you and I made the trip to Omaha, which was like, 8 hours in a breeze.
Yeah.
But no, it'll be pretty cool. And we know Georgia is one of the top states in America as far as high school football talent. OU prioritizing that, especially as of late. I mean, in this last open period, I think they offered like 26, 30 kids, and a lot of them were from Georgia. Mm-hmm. And so I'm excited to see what we get to talk about next week, because I think this is one of those things where we talk a lot about what's happening now, but podcasts are also kind of like forward thinking. What are some topics we can get into big picture? I'm here to tell you guys, like, tomorrow or next Thursday, I think this will be a really fun discussion that we have about OU and expanding recruiting territories, specifically into Georgia as they move into the SEC.
100%. So look forward to that. That'll be next Thursday, like Colin said, after he gets out there. Safe travels for you, hopefully, out there to Georgia. You said it's like in the Atlanta area?
Yeah, I believe Carrollton, Georgia. So it'll be really cool, man. And the other thing I'm doing this weekend, I forgot to mention, I'll be at the I-20 Coaches Clinic. Folks know I'm a big Coaches Clinic guy. I like going, shaking hands, meeting coaches, learning about the game from some of the best. And DFW is the coaching clinic hotbed. And I bring that up to say, not only is former Oklahoma defensive lineman Calvin Thibodeau, who's a coach at SMU, going to be talking, former Oklahoma running back, now Texas running backs coach Tashard Choice will be in attendance. He'll be around. Guess who's another speaker on the list, Josh Callaway, who's really shoving it in the face of OU fans right now? Bill Beatonbow was invited to speak at the I-20 clinic this weekend. So seemingly everyone who knows football loves Bill Beatonbow, folks, but a lot of you out there, and Oklahoma fans know which select group this is. It's a tough look right now, the way Bill Beatonbow's making it happen. Yeah,
we just talked about that on Tuesday's show, too. 3 guys to the combine again. 3 more guys going to the league again. It hasn't been all bad this offseason for Bill, that's for sure. So, cool. Good stuff coming up. Look forward to that, obviously, and we'll get into it more and more as we get into the back half of February. Some fun things coming up on the calendar. We'll shift over to hoops here on the back end. Baylor on Tuesday night in Waco at their brand new arena, their Foster Pavilion, which has got the most preposterous camera angle. I don't know if you've gotten to watch any of the games there at Baylor, but the camera angle is an abomination. I don't know how they have this brand new arena, and it's awesome. It looks amazing on TV. I haven't been, but the camera angle is just insane. They just didn't plan for that at all, I guess, because you're above the court. You're looking straight down. It's not great, but it made a viewing experience that would have already been a little questionable with the camera angle even worse, because the game didn't go well for Oklahoma. So the bigger concern here for Oklahoma right now, and I think most fans would agree, the loss is the loss. I mean, they were sizable underdogs. It doesn't really hurt your tournament resume at all to go lose at Baylor. That's just not how it works. It's not college football. You go play a good team on the road like that, it can really only help you. And they lost. It is what it is. It's the injuries. The injury bug has got a hold of them in a big way right now. John Hughley missed the game. A knee injury that was bothering him, I guess, going all the way back to Bedlam that he played through. He missed the game on Tuesday night. And then Rivaldo Suarez, with the game over, I mean, it was a 20-point game with 5 minutes left, rolled his ankle really badly. He had to leave the game. That's where the concern lies. It's not in the loss of itself, because it was a bad game. I mean, don't get me wrong. Baylor ran away and hit. It was not a competitive game in the second half. But you can move past that. But you need John Hughley and especially Rivaldo Suarez. Suarez has been in the conversation for their best player in Big 12 play off the bench. He has been invaluable. He's been so good. He's a leader. He does all the dirty work. You need this guy. And that ankle roll didn't look great. Now, he may have avoided disaster. We'll see. We're hoping to get an update to our VIP members. Hopefully later today. They practice in the afternoons. So hopefully we'll find out if he was able to get out there and do anything, because Kansas coming to LNC this weekend. So not great right now. That's where the concern lies. The game was bad. Don't get me wrong. Baylor blew him out of the building, but it is what it is. You can live with it and roll on, but you're going to need these guys because the schedule is brutal coming up, Collin. They still got to play Kansas this weekend, like I said. Houston comes to the LNC in a couple of weeks. They got to go to Ames, play at Hilton Coliseum, which is just one of the hardest places to play in America. And Iowa State's a top 10 team right now. It's a rough schedule. They got to go to Gallagher next weekend. I know Oklahoma State's not any good, but still, Gallagher is going to be rocking. You know, it will be for the last bedlam there for who knows how long. There's not a lot of gimmies left on the schedule. I mean, not that there's many in the Big 12 anyway, but the rest of the slate is daunting. So, concern right now, I think, is fair for Oklahoma fans. Concern is fair.
So, as a casual viewer of Oklahoma basketball, and for the record, like the folks that I trust, some of the sources I have on the OU basketball side, I have not even remotely tried to check in on the status of those injuries. So, this is all you. But give me, as like a casual observer, I relate to a lot of OU fans in this. Not only give me a preview of this weekend's Kansas game, because we know it's significant. I mean, it's KU coming to town. But what would be the path to victory for Oklahoma, considering these injuries and some of the stuff going on, and maybe the look ahead too, knowing the other opponents you got on the slate?
Yeah, well, I mean, Kansas. The thing about Kansas, and they've been really they're a top 10 team again. They're certainly a national title contender again, like they typically are under Bill Self. They've actually been really, really bad on the road, kind of shockingly so. I think in Big 12 play they're 1-5 on the road, which is astonishing for Kansas. So the key, step one, would be the fans to come out and make Lloyd Noble Center a tough place to play, which I imagine will be. I think the game was announced as a sellout back in like December. Like they announced the Kansas game sold out a long time ago. Now I imagine a lot of that will be Kansas fans. It usually is. You've been there for Kansas OU basketball games before.
Yeah.
A lot of Jayhawk fans live in Oklahoma. They come down because, not for nothing, but Fog Allen is a tough ticket sometimes. So the opportunity to go watch and play at the LNC is an easier path for some Kansas fans who live in South Kansas, as crazy as that may sound, because it's hard to get into Fog Allen sometimes. So it'll be a lot of Kansas fans there, but making the environment something to make an impact would be step one, because Kansas has not played real great on the road. They just got hammered in Lubbock on Monday. Texas Tech blew them out of the building. So that would be step one. And then step two is, if John Hughley and Rivaldo Suarez are both out, I'm not saying they are. I think it's more likely that John Hughley is out than not, but not for sure. But that's the way it looked to be trending. It's going to be really hard. I mean, you're going to need some young guys who you haven't asked a lot of to play well. You're going to need Luke Northweather to give you the best minutes that he's given you. And then probably, and maybe Caden Cooper season, if you don't have Suarez, your only bench wing that has played at all is Latrey Darthur, guard. So you're going to need another one, and that would presumably be Caden Cooper. So OU fans have really wanted to see Caden Cooper, and I've agreed for a lot of the season. Darthur has been better lately, and we just talked about how good Rivaldo Suarez has been, so that noise hasn't been as loud. But now you might just need him, and it's against Kansas, not the spot you would love to have to throw him in, but that's the way it goes. So we'll see. Maybe the Suarez ankle roll wasn't as bad as it looked in real time, because on Tuesday night, he didn't put any weight on it. He came off the floor. It didn't look good. Maybe he avoided, it being as bad as it seemingly could be. And it stinks too, because it was in a 20-point game with 5. I mean, the game was over. That's the extra twisting of the knife there. So we'll see. It's going to be fun. I mean, last time Kansas comes to LNC, probably ever, because why would they ever come back to North?
Why would you schedule that game? Is my thought.
Extremely unlikely. So it should be a heck of an environment, heck of an atmosphere. The reality for Oklahoma right now to get back to the tournament is they only need like 1 or 2 more wins, literally, I think, to lock it up, because they're pretty soundly in the tournament as of now. But the schedule doesn't really have 1 or 2 super manageable games left on it, which is kind of the sick part of this. The rest of the schedule, they have Kansas at home, at Oklahoma State, at Iowa State, Houston at home, Cincinnati at home, at Texas. That's not a lot of winnable games. I mean, Cincinnati at home is by far the most winnable. You already beat them there. But the rest of that is tough. So Yeah, it's like I said, concern is valid. Like they'll be fine if these guys are back, but if these guys are out, it's going to be hard to win any of these games. Kind of simply put. So we'll see. We'll see. This could spiral quickly, or they could get it back on track. Big moment this weekend. Big moment this weekend. This is a chance for a signature Porter Moser win with Kansas coming in, and the Jayhawks are again coming off a loss, which they were the last time OU played them, which is Kansas doesn't lose a lot of 2 games in a row, so that doesn't really help you. So
yeah,
look forward to it though. Tom and I'll be there at the LNC, full coverage on the site, of course, the YouTube channel afterward, and what should be a heck of an atmosphere out there. Also, want to make sure we shout out before we get out of here. Women's team won again, 9 in a row. Last night they beat Baylor, who's a top 25 team. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. They just, 9 in a row. That's a month solid in college hoops of winning. 9 straight, outrageous. And I think I could be wrong. I should check. I can pull it up before we get out of here, but I'm pretty certain Kansas State lost again, so they now have a 2-game lead for first place in the Big 12. 2 games clear of anybody else in the conference. Absolutely insane what they're doing. So be sure to follow that as well. James Jackson's been covering that team for us and doing a great job. So keep up with that. That team's been a lot of fun. They're getting back to the tournament. It's like a done deal.
Yeah, that's done. I don't think we need to worry about that at all at this point. But
yeah,
man, I don't know what it is. James gets to cover softball and women's basketball, and all those 2 teams do is just win. And James, we got to figure out, man, are you lucky charm or you cheating the system? Like I stood in a lot of 7-on-7 tournaments in the rain, buddy. You got to come out here in the grit.
Yeah, absolutely. So shout out to them as well. They just keep on winning. It's insane. I got another ranked game this weekend, I believe. I think it's West Virginia, maybe. I need to check that. But they just keep on winning, 9 in a row for them. And then last thing, like I kind of touched on at the very beginning, baseball season starts tomorrow. Hallelujah. What a feeling. What a feeling. I'm going to be hitting the road to Arlington later today. We're going to finish up the show here. I'm going to get it up on YouTube and obviously the podcast feed and stuff like that. And then I'm pretty much going to hit the road down to DFW, Oklahoma, Oregon tomorrow at 3 o'clock. I'll be boots on the ground at Globe Life Field, so be sure to keep up with our baseball coverage all season long. Baseball season preview up on the site yesterday. So if anybody, you're just looking for a primer of the team, trying to catch up, what changed since the end of last year, I go through it all. So it's all there for you to be sure you're all set and ready for the 2024 season, which starts tomorrow. I'll be coming back on Saturday to go to the Kansas game at the LNC. So I'll only be able to be down there for the opener, but I will be there for the opener. So very excited for that. Oklahoma and Oregon tomorrow at Globe Life Field. So we got a lot of stuff going on, lots of sports. It's a great time of year, the busiest time of year in some ways coming up, especially when spring football starts, which is, right, like I said, right around the corner. So good stuff coming up. CK, safe travels to Georgia. Good luck.
It's on my mind. You know what I mean?
Get some peaches.
Yep.
And we'll talk to you next week afterward. I know I said on the Tuesday show that we should be able to get back to our usual Monday, Thursday. I think we maybe have to go on Tuesday again after I said that. Tom Green, I think he said he had a conflict on Monday. So we may be bumping back to Tuesday again next week. So keep an eye out for that. If that's the case, we'll be sure to recap the weekend for hoops. We'll continue our status report series. We're going to do wide receivers and tight ends on that show as well. And anything else that's worth touching on, we'll do that, of course, also. So that's it. Great show. Short one, getting you all on the way into the weekend. Hopefully everybody enjoyed it. We'll be back next week. For Collin Kennedy, I'm Josh Callaway. We'll see you guys Monday / probably Tuesday next time on the Sooners Illustrated podcast.